Gear up for Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. It's your final word on sports all across the state. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now here are your hosts, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Our guys fought back. Now that's what we do. We're a tough team to knock out. Obviously we missed the layup there. I think it was going to cut it. I don't know if it was going to cut it to 1 or 2. And that changed the whole game. If he makes that layup, then Duke's going to have to make pressure plays. But they didn't have to do that because we didn't make the layup. So congratulations to Duke. They played very well.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome into Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network as we say goodbye to Clemson at the ACC tournament, and hello to all of you from the SEC tournament live in Nashville at Bridgestone Arena. We are here for, well, as long as the Gamecocks are here. Of course, they're not here yet. They won't be here to play until Friday. They'll actually arrive in Nashville on a Thursday, but we came early to help out our brothers in Missouri, covering Missouri tonight, playing in the final game of the night. Tonight is the night where the league, in all likelihood, or quite possibly, is going to say goodbye to 2 of its head coaches, Kim Anderson at Missouri, who's already been fired but is coaching out the rest of whatever season they have, and Johnny Jones at LSU, same deal there. So it could be sayonara to 2 coaches, both of whom are graduates of their respective schools, but not getting it done well enough on the bench, and thus they say thank you for the memories, and we're going to try again with somebody else. Clemson played Duke, as you heard Brad Brownell, played Duke tough, played Duke again pretty much to the wire, but as has been the case, they just could not make a critical play. You heard him refer to, I was listening as Pro joins us at our studio back in downtown Columbia. K-Mac is off tonight. I was listening to Duke broadcast on satellite radio driving into Nashville, and Pro, it sounded to me like Elijah Thomas had a very easy, makeable layup with the Tigers down like maybe 2 or 4 and missed it, and that pretty much sealed their fate right there.
I think psychologically, Clemson never folded in this ball game. They could have folded midway through the second half when they were down by, I think, at least 13 points. And with 5 minutes to go, they still were down by double digits. But then you looked up 2 minutes later, and they had that thing cut down to 1. And I said, well, maybe this is the time that maybe Duke would buckle. They never did. I forgot who hit a jump shot to bring it back up to 3. But Clemson could get no closer than 3 to 5 points from then within that 45-second mark. But they played their tails off today. They deserved to steal that one today. They just could not hit that big basket or get the lead late to overtake Duke. But they played a whale of a ball game this afternoon.
And once again, Kennard helped do the Tigers in. Remember, he hit, I think it was 16 in a row when they beat Clemson in Durham in the regular season. Today, if my memory's right, I think he was scoreless in the first half. In the second half, he scored 20 points, if I have that broken down correctly. And so he was once again a major thorn in the side for the Tigers. 79-72, if you haven't heard the final score. Duke wins it over Clemson. Blossom game, another superb performance, 19 points, 18 rebounds. He did have 6 turnovers. The Tigers turned it over 13 times. That didn't help their cause today as Duke turned those into 14 points. So Blossom game with 19. Mitchell had 17, including 3 assists. He hit a big 3 late to get the Tigers close. Jite had 10 points, 10 rebounds. Reed off the bench had 13 points. The Tigers really shot their free throws exceptionally well. 24 of 26. They shot 10 more free throws. I'm sorry. They made 10 more free throws than the Blue Devils made. So unusual for Clemson to have a free throw shooting advantage over a team like Duke, but they did today. But it just wasn't enough. Grantham. This is something the Tigers have got to figure out here in the offseason, or as they go into whatever postseason play they go into. Grantham played 19 minutes. He took one shot from the floor. It was a three-pointer, and he missed it. He did have 2 rebounds, but this is a guy who has just flat out disappeared from this team. He is invisible on the court. And I don't know what's happened to him in the second half of the season, but it's just been nothing from him. And Holmes, who hurt his ankle, of course, yesterday, he didn't score. Played 18 minutes, did not start the second half. I don't know how much he played in the second half. The ankle, don't know if that was much of a factor. 0 for 3, probably was. He's a terrific outside shooter. He missed both of his threes, 0 for 3 from the floor, 3 rebounds, but he did not score. So, when 2 of your starters don't scratch, that's not a good sign for you. It helped that Reed picked it up from the bench some with 13, but Holmes and Grantham, big fat goose eggs in the scoring column for those 2.
Yeah, but I think probably, things didn't go their way. Grantham has disappeared ever since his promising freshman season for whatever reason, and they have to rebuild his confidence, I think. But Clemson had the strategy today that almost worked, Corn, and that is they were very aggressive at going to the bucket, which is why they had the free throw disparaging with Duke. But the key point is they made Duke a jump shooting team. However, Duke is proficient in hitting jump shots, and that's what really failed the strategy, because I thought it worked well today because they kept Duke out of the paint for the most part and got Jefferson in foul trouble. But they just couldn't close the deal. And they did everything except win that ball game. I thought that was an exceptionally coached game by Clemson overall.
Yep, they were tied at the half, and Duke came out early in the second half, which is what you have to be prepared for. They came out early in the second half, built a lead, built a working margin. Clemson came back. The lead grew to 13 at one point. Clemson came back and, of course, got it down to a one-possession game, but missed the opportunities that they had to get even closer to perhaps even tie it up or even go ahead. They had a chance to go ahead. They were only down a point, 69-68, with the 2:51 to play. And it was then Kennard hit the jumper. That might be the one you're talking about. Put Duke up 3, and Thomas gets I was listening on the radio. Maybe you were watching. I don't know how wide open he was, but it sounded like he just blew a very makeable layup with 2:04 to go.
I didn't see that particular play. No, I didn't see that particular play.
And then they go down. They foul the freshman Jackson. He hits both of them to go back up 5. Jite, a layup, gets it back to within 3. Jumper by Kennard puts Duke back up 5. Blossom game, a dunk, cuts the lead back to 3. And that was as close as Clemson would get. Tatum hit a couple of free throws to put it up 5, and then he hit 2 more free throws to make it the final score, 79-72. Duke had 3 players to score 20 points. Tatum, Kennard, and Jackson all scored 20 points. Jefferson had a double-double with 11 and 10. So the Blue Devils advance, and in the earlier game today up in New York, in Brooklyn, this will be this will be a real test now moving forward with no Syracuse in the tournament. Syracuse falls to Miami, 62-57, final score there. So Syracuse is eliminated. Miami advances, enhances their postseason resume. And the Hurricanes had 4 in double figures with Murphy leading the way with 16 points. Kamari Murphy, 6 of 13 from the floor. And as far as Syracuse is concerned, leading scorer was Andrew White III with 22. So Syracuse is done. I imagine they were counting on Syracuse being around a little bit to help with the attendance, but we'll see. With the Tar Heels coming, Virginia coming, Duke hanging around, they still have some strong draws there, but I want to see how that thing plays out over the next few days up in Brooklyn. We are at Bridgestone Arena in beautiful downtown Nashville. 800-956-7266. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network here in Nashville. The SEC tournament begins in about 40 minutes with a couple of play-in games. LSU, Mississippi State, that's the 12-13 game, followed by Auburn, Missouri, that's the 11-14 game. The winner of Mississippi State, LSU, will play Alabama tomorrow in the second game. The winner of Auburn, Missouri, will play Ole Miss tomorrow night in the final game of the night. Now, South Carolina is on the bracket line being fed from Mississippi State, LSU. So the winner there will play Alabama. The winner there will play South Carolina, second game on Friday. And that's it. That's it from here. LSU was just on the court warming up. I call this a what was the name of that company, that phone company many years ago? Used to sponsor the Heritage MCI. Yeah, that's an MCI crowd, friends and family. Remember MCI market?
Oh yeah,
friends and family.
Friends and family.
Yeah, we got a friends and family crowd. Of course, I did see some Kentucky cars. In fact, I'm seeing some Kentucky Blues sitting out there. I'm telling you, these Kentucky basketball fans. And as I mentioned last night and again this year, they have sold the press box seats up here. I'm sitting up in what's known as the hockey press box area, very top of the arena. Sold the seats in the hockey press box area all the way up to where I'm sitting, just below me, just to squeeze another dollar out of a crazed Kentucky basketball fan. No matter what the view is, no matter how bad the view is. And I'm telling you, if you got, let's see, it was seat 321, Section D, row 1. That's a terrible seat, but a Kentucky fan would pay full price to get it, I'm sure, to be here on Friday. And we'll see what South Carolina can do. If the Gamecocks can beat whoever they play Friday, Kentucky playing in the game ahead of them, Kentucky is going to get the winner of the Tennessee-Georgia game, which I predict will be Georgia. So I look at Kentucky, Georgia playing in the game before South Carolina and whoever they play. And, Georgia, to me, Georgia's a dangerous team. They're just good enough to beat anybody, but not good enough to beat people. Just sort of stuck in the middle there. But they're a very dangerous team, a team that South Carolina beat twice and had to battle hard to beat those two times. All right, our phone number, 800-956-7266. Love to hear from you, especially now that Clemson's season in terms of the ACC is over. The Tigers will await their postseason fate, perhaps this year an NIT bid, maybe even hosting an NIT game, even though the record is not all that much better than last year. And, in fact, it's in the ACC, it's worse. But I think the strength of schedule and I don't remember what the RPI was at this end of the season last year when they lost to Georgia Tech in the ACC tournament first game. But I would think the Tigers are going to get an invite to the NIT this year. I'd be very surprised. I mean, if you watch, and K-Mac and I had this debate last night. I mean, again, they're a better team than their record indicates. They just haven't won as many games as a team of their caliber should. That's kind of how I look at it. And you can point to a number of different things, which is what I want to throw out there to Tiger fans. Are you optimistic about the future of men's basketball? Do you not care, which is probably even worse than anything else? 800-956-7266. Do you like the future with who's coming back and who's coming in the recruiting class, or you just don't care and all you want to do is get to the spring football game and back to the next football season, or follow your baseball team? 800-956-7266. I would like to hear from some interested Clemson fans on that question tonight. Speaking of Brad Brownell, he just wrapped up his press conference a few minutes ago after the Tigers lost to Duke. Disappointing finish for him. He's seen this so many times this year where the Tigers played a team, a very good team, a better team to the wire, only to come up short. Oftentimes in these situations, it just comes down to who has the better players And as you listen to him talk, he eventually gets around to the talent difference between these two programs.
Yeah, just congratulations to Duke. I thought those guys really made plays in the second half and just outplayed us. I thought in the first half, once we kind of got into the game, I thought we played very well, defended them at a good level, but we had a harder time guarding them. I thought we made some mistakes defensively in the second half for sure. But our guys fought back. Now that's what we do. We're a tough team to knock out. Obviously we missed the layup there. I think that was going to cut it. I don't know if it was going to cut it to 1 or 2. And that changed the whole game. If he makes that layup, then Duke's going to have to make pressure plays. But, they didn't have to do that because we didn't make the layup. So congratulations to Duke. They played very well. Kennard was very hard to stop. Frank Jackson and Jason Tatum, again, also all three of those guys played an extremely high level.
You guys had a steal and a layup to start the second half. You're up 2. And then Duke took over the game. Kennard hit a couple of shots.
I'm not sure they took over the game, but they took the lead.
Yeah,
with a minute to go. And I thought we turned it over some. We had a couple of bad defensive possessions. Our first 3 or 4 minutes of the second half, if you go look at our shots, they're open. We had 2 wide open threes in the corner, and we missed them both. Wide open, executed very well by our guys. We just didn't make them. And unfortunately, one of them I know for sure bounced long into a fast break. And that's, at some point, that's what this game boils down to is you got to make shots. Credit Duke's defense. I thought they guarded us well, but we had enough opportunities to score better than we did. We played better in transition than we did in the half court. And again, some of that was because of Duke.
They seemed to get a handle on your defense in the first half. Were you doing anything different from the first half to the second half on defense?
Not a lot. They just have really good players now. I mean, they're hard to guard, and you can't really guard them with multiple people very often because the next guy is going to make an open 3, and because you have to guard the 3-point shot against Duke, it puts you in one-on-one scenarios, and your guys have to be able to guard their guys. And if they can do that and make them take challenge shots, you're going to have a chance to win. And if you can't do that, you're probably not going to win. And I thought they made more individual plays. Emil Jefferson made 2 individual drives and scored. They scored 2 baskets on underneath out-of-bounds plays. We threw a ball when we saved it right to him for a layup. Jason Tatum made a couple of very difficult plays. Luke Kennard made some shots. I just think their players rose to the occasion and made high-level shots, and that's what you expect out of high-level players.
All right, Brad Brownell, same song, different verse for the Tigers. Another close loss. So you look at who the Tigers are losing, and they're losing 3 quality players. A Jerome Blossom game, one of the greatest players in Clemson history. Avery Holmes, who led the ACC in 3-point shooting. And Sidi Jete. What a job Sidi Jete did growing as a player. And he led the nation in offensive rebounding this season. They lose 3 big cogs.
Yes.
Coming in, they're going to add some size on the wing. Amir Sims, 6'7", Malik Williams, 6'6", and in the backcourt, A.J. Oliver, 6'3", and Clyde Trapp Jr., 6'4". So I like the size of these guys. Oliver in particular is supposed to be a very, very talented player. We didn't see him play this year because he sat out the year while gray shirting at Clemson. That's still a move, Pro, that I mean, listen, everybody's got to do what they want to do. I guess he wanted to get his college education underway early, but I don't understand giving up your senior season of high school to go sit out in college. But hey, each to their own. That's what he did. Clyde Trapp won a state championship at Lower Richland, had a really fine year. Sims, I've seen some stuff on him, or he's had some big games. I haven't seen much on William. So looks like they're bringing in some long, lean type guys, Pro, that can maybe stretch a defense if they can hit some outside shots.
Well, they got to do it that way. That's the way you build a program. If you're at a school like Clemson, where you don't get all the McDonald's All-Americans, not even Burger King All-Americans for that matter.
Sports Talk on a Wednesday night from Music City, Nashville, Tennessee. What a beautiful city this place is. And you know, you come here, you just get happy. Any city that's based on the music industry of some form or fashion, it's got to put you in a good mood. I love coming to Nashville. K-Mac used to come to Nashville all the time for us, and used to tell me, man, you got to go to Nashville. It's a great place to visit and hang out. I always let him go, though, because, you know, K-Mac being just a couple of years younger, I figured he'd enjoy it more. But now that I have family here, I have an actual real reason to come to Nashville. Even though the family's out of town, I still draw the assignment to come to Nashville every time there's something here. Now, next year, this tournament moves even farther to the west to St. Louis. Going to test the outer fringe of the SEC boundary by going to St. Louis. And the ACC tournament, once again, will be in Brooklyn next year. So really stretching everybody's budget and everybody's real desire to want to go to these basketball tournaments.
Now, if you don't believe that global warming is happening and the world is turning on its axis, why is the ACC tournament in Brooklyn? And I'm staring here looking at overtime at the Big Ten tournament, and they're in Washington, D.C. for crying out loud.
I mean, they feel like they need to expose the fans of Maryland to Big Ten basketball. It's so out of control. It's not even – college sports is just spinning out of control with no common sense involved whatsoever.
I mean,
here's the other thing. I mean, I know you got the Big East up there, but come on, the Big East is just a bump on a log. If you're the ACC, I don't know what the contract – maybe the contract with the Big East prevented this, but, I mean, if you're going to go to New York – to play your tournament, by all means, play at Madison Square Garden. Don't play in Brooklyn. You know, it's a beautiful arena. It is a gorgeous arena, but go play at the world's most famous arena. Now, that would be, you know, that's worth going to go to Madison Square Garden to watch a basketball game.
Well, they probably wanted to go to the more modern arena. Who knows? But, you know, it's interesting what you said next year. This, provided they're playing well, this will be the test for those basketball fan bases. Will Arkansas try to buy up all the tickets to keep Kentucky people out if they're playing well? Because let's face it, when we look at it, from a historical standpoint, in the SEC, the most passionate basketball fans are Arkansas and Kentucky. We saw that when Arkansas first came into the league. And I know the people in Arkansas are hoping it gets to that point again, but it being in St. Louis, it'll be interesting to see how the tickets go with that tournament in St. Louis.
Yep, you're right. I'm sure Kentucky fans are already buying the tickets for that tournament now, getting a head start on it. You know, for a lot of Kentucky fans, as they'll tell you, tickets to Rupp Arena, so that's why they travel so well. It's their only chance to see their beloved Wildcats in person, and that includes the tournament. And, of course, Nashville's very centrally located for Kentucky fans, and so they buy up all these tickets because they love their team, they follow their team, and they can't get tickets in Rupp, a lot of them. This is their only chance. All right, 800-956-7266 is our number here on Sports Talk. Question out there is about Clemson basketball now that they're out of the ACC tournament. If there's a Clemson – I'd like to hear from one Clemson fan who cares. There's got to be a Clemson fan who cares. You're either really ticked off and you want something done, or you feel like everything's okay and you're moving in the proper direction and you just want to stick with what you've got. Is there a Clemson fan out there willing to share a basketball opinion? You know, you do have more up there than just a football team. You got a pretty good baseball team, as we know. You got the basketball team also. 800-956-7266 if a Clemson fan wants to share an opinion with us along those lines. Now, in baseball, Clemson and Michigan State just getting underway up at Doug Kingsmore Stadium. The Tigers tonight starting in this order. Davidson at short, Roman the DH, Beer left, Pender in center, Jackson in right, Williams behind the plate, Cox at first, Green, your second baseman, and Cromwell at third, and Tyler Jackson on the mound tonight. They should be about ready for first pitch there. And USC tonight, after winning last night against the Citadel and pounding the Citadel pitching, the Gamecocks trying to get some momentum going after the weekend debacle that they suffered through against Clemson, trying to get some confidence going, trying to get some momentum going here this 5 games before they get to SEC play next week. And the Gamecocks home tonight to take on Winthrop. And the Gamecocks lineup will have Hopkins, who hit 2 homers last night, in center, Tolbert at second, Williams at first, Olsen in right, Destino DHing, Bride at third, Cullen behind the plate, Stokes back in the lineup at short, and Blair in left field, and Brandon Murray, the starter tonight for the Gamecocks. Recruiting will be coming up in a little bit. Somebody important in our state received a big offer today. Things just got a little bit different with this guy. That's called a tease in the business. We'll get to that coming up. In the meantime, let's go to some calls. Perhaps true Clemson fans have something to say about their basketball team. Let's go to Jeremy in Spartanburg. Hello, Jeremy. Welcome in. How are you?
Hey, Phil. Doing great. Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
Love the show, by the way.
Thank you.
I'm the Brownell thing, and I really am. I'm even at the beginning stages of Dabo. Everybody's wanting to fire him, and I was like, okay, man, just be calm. I see that things are getting better. Honestly, and I was the same way with Brownell. I just don't see. Obviously, they can get better. I don't see them getting better with him. I just believe this is it for him. I just believe that he's taken it as far as he can. And I know part of it is not his fault in the fact that this is the first year that he had the new, if you want to call it, new arena. Got the upgrade and all that good stuff, and that's nice. But we've just heard for the past 3 years, well, wait till this transfer comes in. Wait till this guy comes in. He needs this guy. And it's the same thing every single time. It's like today's game wouldn't have mattered if you don't go 6-12 in the freaking ACC. And I know they lost to some really good teams, but man, some of those losses, and I know a lot of them were heartbreakers.
Mm-hmm.
But dang, man, some of those you just got to. If you just finish 9-9, just 9-9, you're more than likely going to make the tournament. But that's really all I got. But
well,
yeah, I think it's
Jeremy. Let me tell you this now, and I know it's a difficult thing to look at, but you're looking at a Duke team that they don't recruit, they select. Guys want to come to Duke. Here's Brad Brownell getting a transfer here, a guy who's developed over 4 years, and he's standing toe-to-toe with Coach K. So that tells you right there the guy is a darn good coach. And then you ask yourself, who would come to Clemson? Everybody knows that is a tough job. It's a tough job. And maybe you give the guy some longevity there. He's going to be there. He gets comfortable there. And he can do something at Clemson. I've always said that the basketball team during the football season should be married to the football team. I mean, it's something to be said for using the football team to bring recruits in and turn them on to Clemson basketball as an athletic family. And I think Clemson, for the right guy, could be a sleeping giant, but it takes time. It'll be difficult if you try to pull the trigger now on getting rid of Brownell, because you ask yourself, who can you get, Corn?
And I'll share my thoughts on that after the break. We'll take more calls too. 800-956-7266. Sports Talk in Nashville and Columbia. Back in a moment. All right, we're back at Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network, 800-956-7266. We'll get to recruiting here shortly. We've got some more comments from Frank Martin on his team, getting ready for the SEC tournament for you. Also, Clemson co-offensive coordinator Tony Elliott, we'll hear from him. The Tigers had a scrimmage today, but no media availability, but they did talk earlier in the week. And we'll hear from USC's new offensive line coach, Eric Wolford. Gamecocks still on their spring break, so no practice going on for them right now. Just to follow up on what you said, Pro, and my thoughts on it too, is that a black mark against Brownell in his time at Clemson is a large number of very close losses. It's amazing how many close games they've lost over the years. When I'm talking close, I'm talking in the 5 to 7 point category. And you have to look at a number of things when that happens. Lack of execution by your players, bad breaks, or bad coaching decisions. And, this year they had a bad break against North Carolina. They've got a chance to probably cinch that game, and a good free throw shooter misses a free throw, leaves the door open for North Carolina to win that game. Was that in overtime or regulation? They won the game nonetheless.
Yeah, in overtime.
Syracuse, coaching blunder. I mean, there's just no way you don't know the personnel going out on the floor accurately the other team is putting out there. To his credit, he admitted that they blew that. And it led to a wide-open shot in the corner, a three-pointer, and a Syracuse win. Duke in Durham. Got a chance to win. Can't get a shot off. They don't even run a decent play. They just threw the ball into the backcourt away from the basket. You don't even get a chance at making a shot attempt for a chance to win. And there was one other game this year that they had the ball last and couldn't get a decent shot off. So, some of that's coaching. Just some of that is bad coaching and just not doing a good job from that standpoint. So, Dan Radakovich is a man who demands a high level of success from his coaches. He just fired the volleyball coach after 2 years. He's demanding a high level of success from his guys, and he pays them well. Brad Brownell has a very nice contract. He's got a beautiful new arena. He's got a beautiful practice facility. He's just going to have to evaluate the pluses and minuses and see what he thinks. If a change were to be made, they've given Brownell ample opportunity to have a winning program and go to the tournament, at least 2 out of 4 years. But this is pretty ridiculous. He's gone one time in 7 years? Is it 7 years? And those are with players he inherited from Oliver Purnell. I mean, he coached them up. I'll give him credit on that, but he did not recruit most of those players. Ever since it became his program entirely, no NCAA tournament appearances. So that's on Radakovich to evaluate and decide if that's good enough for his basketball program. Back to the phones we go, 800-956-7266. And Ben in Spartanburg, thank you for being patient. Welcome to Sports Talk.
Hey, Phil, let you guys show you. Y'all do a great job. I am one of these. Diehard Clemson and everything. Basketball is especially, dear to me. I was a student at Clemson in the mid to late 90s when Rick Barnes was there. I was there for the game with Tim Duncan when they were number 2 in one poll. We were number 2 in the other. Saw Clemson beat Kentucky the first game one year. So basketball is really special to me. And I certainly understand the criticism Brownell's getting. This year, Clemson they did not catch any good team on an off night. When they were playing their A game, North Carolina played A+, Duke played A+, or at least that a snitch better than Clemson enough to win it. So I understand the criticism of Brownell. So if they were to let him go, I would understand it. I do like the man. I think he's a good X&O coach. He's a bit the opposite of Dabo. He's probably not the recruiter, but he's a great X&O guy. The one disappointment I've had this year, his teams haven't been as tight defensively as they've been in the past. When he was over 500 in the ACC, his teams would lock you down defensively, and they've lost that a little bit this year. So that would be my criticism of him. If they let him go, I understand it. If they give him one more year, I understand that too. Thanks for the call.
Thank you. Well, I think maybe he sacrificed defense for offense with the crowd he brought in. When you look at the transfer guys, because those transfer guys, they're all offensive type guys. Shelton Mitchell, Avery Holmes, especially Reed, they're all scorers. They like to score, and defense is not, locking down on defense is not their forte. I'll say this, though. Elijah Thomas should be a wonderful player for them. I just think he's got skills. And, he should be a dominating player in the middle for them. He should be a 30-minute a game player for them next year. Today, though, let's see, what did he do today? Today, where he at? He went. He had 8 points, 4 rebounds in 15 minutes, and he fouled out. So he's got to learn how to protect himself, but they've got to get 30 minutes a game out of him. He could be a 15-point, 8 rebounds a game guy for you, no question. And with some blocks thrown in there as well. I love his skills. He can run the floor. He's got quick moves around the basket. He's got a soft touch. He can defend a little bit. I would think he's a guy you can build around. They got to figure out what's wrong with Dante Grantham, too. I mean, Dante Grantham should easily be a double-digit scorer for you. He should be a 15-point a game guy. I don't know where his offensive game has gone, but it left the building a couple of months ago. That's something they got to fix as well. Backcourt-wise, with Mitchell returning, that's good. Reed returning, that's good. They'll have some offense in the backcourt, plus the guys who are coming in. Mm-hmm. And DeVoe returns, so they'll have some shooters, but they got to get better on defense. There's no question about that. All right, back to the phones we go. Kevin over in Marion, thank you, sir, for waiting here on Sports Talk.
How you doing, Corn, in the Music City and Pro up there in Columbia? I always love listening to y'all show. I listen to it coming home every evening. I'm kind of agreeing with what Pro said. I think that you just got to give him a little bit more time, and I think with the football doing well, I think it's going to sell over into that eventually. And let's face it, Clemson's a football school. It's not a basketball school, but I just believe if they give him a little bit more time, it's going to bleed over. And I'm going to let y'all comment on me. Y'all have a good night. Thank you for taking my call.
Corn,
thank you. I'm going to say what you're going to say because you've said it in the past, and that is you should use your football to your benefit if you're in that situation as a basketball program. If football is king where you are, then use it to your benefits, and that is something Clemson should try and do. I'm going to shut up here. We're about to have the national anthem. You take it, Pro.
Now, the interesting thing is we're looking at two schools with tremendous athletic budgets, only 90 miles apart, that have strong coaches, in my opinion, good X and O guys. That's difficult to build a consistent program. That's Mark Fox at Georgia, and then Brad Brunell at Clemson. But both schools we've seen in the past are able to do some damage once they get in the tournament. We've seen that before as far as the schools are concerned. I think both gentlemen, because there was some article about Mark Fox being on the hot seat, both gentlemen need time, but you could tell if they just can turn the corner, they can have something special at both schools. And I think Clemson being in the ACC really has a leg up on Georgia because of the recruiting prowess of the entire conference.
Here we go. You ready? Well, that's going to be background. It won't kill us. All right, coming down in 3, 2, 1. A big offer on Wednesday from one of the state's top prospects in 2018, quarterback to Kerryon Joyner, picked up an offer from Alabama. Alabama joins a long list of major offers for Joyner, including USC. Meantime, USC offensive line target Casey Holman of Snellville, Georgia, committed to Duke. Seneca receiver Braden Galloway recently picked up an offer from NC State. Defensive back Israel Mukuyamu. I always mess up that. Israel Mukuyamu. Defensive back Israel Mukuyamu. All right, we'll pick it up there. 3, 2, 1. And defensive back Israel Mukuyamu, formerly of Berkeley, now living in Bossier City, Louisiana, continues to hear a lot from USC, talking with the Gamecock staff on a regular basis. He's been to Mississippi State and Oklahoma State for junior days. He plans to get to USC at some point this summer. Phil Kornblut, South Carolina, Radio Network Sports. And defensive back Israel, Seneca receiver Braden State. Defensive back Israel and defensive back Israel Mukuyamu, formerly a big offer. And defensive back Israel Mukuyamu. And defensive back Israel Mukuyamu, formerly. That's fine. That's fine. I can't say it any better. Trace Adkins to sing the national anthem at the ACC Tournament Championship game. Ooh, that'd be cool. SEC Tournament. Trace Adkins is one of the hottest country music singers out there. He also does Firestone commercials. You watching it? Are you getting?
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornblut, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
We are back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network from Nashville and from Columbia. Good to have you with us, Phil Kornblut. Here in Nashville, the Music City, where there hasn't been much string music thus far, 2-2 LSU, Mississippi State. In the first game of tonight's action, which I am billing as lame duck coach round, because we've got two coaches. Should their team lose, their coaching days at their particular school will be over, LSU and Missouri. Pro, I'm so high up in this arena, they're playing the game in the central time zone. I'm watching it from the mountain time zone. That's how far away I am from the action.
As high as Duke?
It takes higher than Duke. Good. I think you could put 3 Cameron indoor stadiums inside this arena. I've been here for hockey, too. It's a beautiful arena, Bridgestone Arena, right in downtown Nashville, right across the street from the Country Music Hall of Fame. And they've closed off part of downtown for a fanfare outside. And I've been here for a hockey game, too. Of course, they love hockey for some reason in Nashville. The Predators are real hot ticket here. And it's a great place to watch a hockey game, too. It's a great place to watch a basketball game if you're sitting in the regular area, which I will. I'll do that later on this week, but for broadcast purposes, it's best for me to be up here and out of the way. So we're here in Nashville. Pro is in Columbia along with Jared Rogers Martin, who's never been to Nashville. I told him that for a single guy, you got to come to Nashville and spend a weekend, because you might not be single much longer. This is where women come in huge bunches to have their bridal showers or their weekends, their girls' weekend away before they're getting married, that sort of thing. I mean, they come here by the thousands for that on weekends in Nashville. It's loaded up with women who are interested in being women and not interested in protesting about being women.
You're trying to sell me off now, Corn.
Well, no, I think that a handsome guy like you, a single guy, probably looking for a mate, you could probably have some luck here in Nashville. Mate. I figure a guy like you, you need the odds to be heavily in your favor. So I figure if there's like 500 women here and one you, chances are good you might land something.
Well, I need all the help I can get, I suppose. But I'll come up and visit you out there.
That's all right. Not this weekend, okay? You stay back there. 8-2, LSU's gone on a little bit of a run here, jumping out early on Mississippi State, 8-2. All right, let me update a couple of other things.
Marissa on 9-2.
I beg your pardon?
Marissa's on 9-2.
Oh, I don't know anybody named Marissa. I know a Marisa. I don't know a Marissa. Got to get the name right.
Well,
now
she's heard what you said now.
I can promise you she hasn't, because she hasn't listened to the show in 37 years. Why would she start now? Or in 33 years, as long as we've been on the air. South Carolina and Winthrop underway, top of the first, no score. Clemson and Michigan State. Michigan State, a good baseball team. They're playing at Fluor Field in Greenville. They're in the bottom of the first with no score. All right, so they're underway in their baseball games there. A couple of games earlier today. Furman. Furman lost to Butler 10-7 in Greenville today. And in basketball, Coastal Carolina playing its first ever game in the Sun Belt Conference tournament. Well, this has got to be sweet for Cliff Ellis. He beat the school. Well, he didn't begin his coaching career there, but it was the school that catapulted him to Clemson, and that was South Alabama. He beat South Alabama 80-67. So the shots are 16-16. And Elijah Wilson scored 16 points and also scored the 1,800th point in his career at Coastal, becoming the third shot to reach that scoring milestone. Jalen Shaw, a solid game with 14 points. USC women, the AP honors have come out. The player of the year is Asia Wilson. Coach of the year is Robin Pingeton of Missouri. Freshman of the year is Jordan Lewis of Alabama. On the first team, this is by the AP, Wilson is on the first team. Elena Coates is on the second team. All right, to recruiting we go now. Lines are open, by the way. They were loaded up. If you want to join us to talk more about what we were talking about, and that is Brad Brownell. Now that the season from the ACC standpoint is over, You're a Clemson fan out there. We heard from some good Clemson fans earlier, and there is passion and there is interest and there is desire to have a winning, high-profile basketball team at Clemson. Is Brad Brownell the guy that can get it done after all these years? What do you think? 800-956-7266, the number. All right, recruiting. Today, Fort Dorchester quarterback DeCarrion Joyner was offered by Alabama. Game on when it comes to DeCarrion Joyner now. It was looking like South Carolina, NC State. Now Alabama's entered the fray. And, that's got to open up eyes and turn heads. Do they see him as another Jalen Hurts? Possibly. I think Will Muschamp, if he's on vacation while they're on spring break, I think his vacation just got diverted a little bit. Because you do have to worry when Alabama throws its hat in the ring. So he gets an offer today from Alabama. Offensive lineman Casey Holman of Snellville, Georgia. A frequent visitor to USC over the last couple of years, including last month's Junior Day. The Gamecocks appeared to be in strong shape with him, though his offer list had mushroomed in recent weeks. Anyway, he announced a commitment to Duke. He went there for a Junior Day on Saturday and announced his commitment earlier this week. USC offered 2019 receiver Kendrell Scurry of Thompson Station, Tennessee, who has been committed to Tennessee but is still looking around. Seneca receiver Braden Galloway, recently offered by NC State. That was his first offer. He's also hearing from Duke, Wake Forest, North Carolina, Florida State, and Appalachian State. He's been to Clemson for some practices, but isn't having much contact from the Tigers right now, and nothing from USC at this point. Defensive back Israel, here we go. Defensive back Israel Mukuamu, who was going to be one of the state's top prospects in 2018 in that class at Berkeley before moving to Bossier City, Louisiana. USC was impressed enough with him to be his first offer. The Gamecocks remain in touch. He tells us that he talked with recruiter Lance Thompson yesterday. That would have been Monday. And he said that they are still interested. They want him to come to their Junior Day. They wanted him to come to their recent Junior Day, but it was too far. He's going to visit again this summer, and he still likes USC a lot, he said. He has been to Mississippi State and Oklahoma State for Junior Days, plus he's getting interest from Wake Forest, Purdue, Indiana, Tulane, Iowa State, and Louisiana Lafayette. He's going to visit Tulane this week with trips coming up to Lafayette, Indiana, and Purdue. He does not have a leader. His offers are USC, Wake Forest, Texas, San Antonio, Coastal Carolina, and Charlotte. And place kicker B.T. Potter of South Point, the state's top kicker in the 18 class. And he thinks if things go well for him this summer, there's a strong likelihood he'll be at Clemson in another year. He was at the Tigers Junior Day last weekend, and he said the visit was awesome, enjoyed the new facility. He said the Tigers are showing strong interest in him. He said that they're telling him he's their top guy, and if he performs well at camp, he'll get a gray shirt offer. And they said that he'd have a good chance at competing for a starting job as a freshman. So if he decides to go to Clemson, he would walk on as a freshman, then go on scholarship in the following January. Also hearing some from USC. He's considering a visit to Wake Forest soon. Also hearing from Oklahoma, Indiana, Cal, and Wisconsin. He has an offer from Mercer. He says he's hearing the same amount from every school, but recently he said Clemson has been talking to him a lot. There you go with recruiting. We'll be right back. All right, it's Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network, having a great time here in Nashville. 13-11 Mississippi State on LSU. 11 minutes to go in the first half. Hoping you've had a great day. Glad that you are with us here tonight on Sports Talk. We've got baseball games going on as well. We will update those for you in just a moment. Our friends at Founders that they have hit it out of the ballpark. Founders Federal Credit Union's new office at the Commons at Bull Street in Columbia. It is opening soon. In the meantime, they encourage you to visit them on the USC campus at the Russell House. Visit RelaxJoinFounders.com to see if you qualify for membership. Winthrop is knocking the Gamecocks around early in their game at Founders Park. It is 4-0 Winthrop. They're in the top of the first. Only one out. Runners on first and second. And Winthrop got a bases clearing triple by, give me a second and I'll tell you who it was by. It was by, this is appropriate, Babe Thomas. Babe Thomas with the bases clearing triple has given, and then they had another base hit for an RBI. So Brandon Murray, who started for the Gamecocks, did not last long at all, and they have brought in for his college debut Colby Lee, former standout pitcher at the home of athletic and academic champions, Latta High School. So good luck to Colby Lee. He inherits a 4-0 deficit at the hands of Winthrop, and it could get worse as they play in the top of the first. Clemson has taken a 2-0 lead on Michigan State, and Clemson is the visiting team in this thing, apparently, for some reason. Looks like the Tigers are the visiting team. They've taken a 2-0 lead in the top of the second, and it was a 2-run double by Williams. I tell you what, getting Chris Williams healthy and back in the lineup has been unbelievably big for Clemson, offensively and defensively. Boy, does he mean a lot to them. So he had a 2-run double down the left field line. Only one run was earned, and so Clemson has taken a 2-0 lead in that one. Pro, you got any other basketball you're keeping an eye on?
Yeah, I'm watching Wake Forest and Virginia Tech right now. It's a tight one, 15-13. Both these teams may ease in that 8-9 spot as far as the NCAA tournament is concerned. A great coaching job by both coaches this year. Danny Manning at Wake Forest and Buzz Williams at Virginia Tech, whose name is also floating around about the Missouri job. He's a Texas guy, but he's coached at Marquette and Virginia Tech. So you're going to hear a lot of names. Even Winthrop's coach is floating around Missouri circles.
Let's give you some other finals. Penn State defeated Nebraska in the Big Ten in overtime, 76-67. In overtime, Louisiana Monroe over Arkansas State, 73-70. It's in the Sun Belt first round. In overtime, Pac-12 first round, Arizona State beat Stanford 98-88, also in overtime. Is that the kind of March Madness we're going to have? All these overtime games? Let's see. Utah State did not need overtime to beat San Jose 90-64. In Conference USA, Rice over Southern Miss 86-75. Rice has won games this year. In Conference USA, UT San Antonio over Western Kentucky 56-52. And games ongoing. UNLV leading San Diego State 13-8 in the Mountain West. Georgetown over St. John's 18-9. The Big East. Disappointing seasons for both of those teams. Pro told you about Wake Forest and Virginia Tech. I'll update. 19-16. 12 minutes to go there in the first half. TCU leads Oklahoma 20-17 in the Big 12. In Conference USA, UAB leads Charlotte 29-25. In the MEAC, North Carolina Central 76, Bethune-Cookman 50, second half. In the Atlantic 10, UMass 53, St. Joseph's 37. In the Sun Belt, 55-45, Lafayette over Little Rock. In the Southland, Sam Houston 56, Central Arkansas 51. In the Pac-12, late second half, California leading Oregon State 53-46. And again, here it's Mississippi State 19, LSU 17 with 8:25 to play. Now, South Carolina will be here tomorrow. They arrive tomorrow. They don't play until Friday. The Gamecocks last time out lost at Ole Miss. It was a game in which the Gamecocks fell way behind and fought their way back to make it close, but could not overcome an inspired Rebels team on senior night. Wasn't a great performance by USC by any means, though Sindarius Thornwell did his thing. Here is Frank Martin about that loss in terms of how he thought his team played in relation to getting them ready to play Friday against somebody here in Nashville.
We weren't bad going into the Ole Miss game. I just think all this is new to us. It really is, and it's a road game. That's the other part to that. Ole Miss is on edge. Ole Miss needed to win. They're coming off a game where they lost at Alabama, where they did not play well. They were on edge, and I don't think our guys were prepared to, and that's the end of the day because of my job. But I don't think they were prepared to take on a very, Ole Miss has won 19 games. We're not talking about a team that won 8. And they showed up and they were on it now. They were playing at speed that a team that's fighting for credibility does. And we weren't ready to deal with that. We fought hard and we figured out a way to get back in it and gave ourselves a chance to win in the last 5 minutes of the game. But like I said after the game, if we would have been prepared to handle things better, then we're not down 20 and maybe we do win the game. But no, they weren't bad. We weren't as we didn't play as fast and enthusiastic and as sharp as we were going into Tennessee the week before. But we weren't bad either. We just, had a road game. Just didn't, it happens. It's and all this is new. We're the team that when you beat us, it makes your number better. It kind of puts you in a place that now you win 20 games. Yeah, when we beat South Carolina, and this is new to our guys. It's not something that we've been used to dealing around here, and so we probably didn't handle that as well as we needed to. But no, the guys will be fine this week. Our team's a resilient team. They enjoy practice. They enjoy, going through the journey. We went through a couple of weeks there where we weren't as good as we needed to be. And I told you guys that. But for the most part, these guys have been a whole lot of fun to be around. And there's a reason that I feel pretty good about playing next week. And there's a reason. It's not because I'm smarter than anybody. It's because we got a special group of guys.
All right, Frank Martin, leading up to the Gamecocks being here Friday to play in the SEC tournament. Sindarius Thornwell will have the extra pressure of being the player of the year going into the tournament, which makes him a marked man. 21.2 points, 7.3 rebounds, about 3 assists per game, 43% from the floor, 39% from 3, 84% from the line. What a solid season he has had. He just needs some guys to contribute all at the same time. He needs Dwayne Notice to hit the outside shot. He needs P.J. Dozier to continue breaking people down and getting to the rim, but also stepping back and hitting some outside shots. That would be a big boost if he could find his jumper here in Nashville. We'll be right back. All right, 28-25, Mississippi State's leading LSU. 4 minutes to go here in Nashville in this SEC tournament game. In Brooklyn, it's 24-20. Wake Forest over Virginia Tech. I mean, we expect both Wake Forest and Virginia Tech to make the tournament, do we not? Are we expecting like 10, maybe 11 ACC teams
10.
to make it? At least 10?
10, yeah.
That includes Wake Forest?
That would include Wake, yes. And Virginia Tech, I think.
And, Jim Boeheim. Jim Boeheim, who, of course, is retiring after, I think, 2 more seasons today. And asked about playing the ACC tournament, it says here, in Brooklyn. He said the following, quote, this is Jim Boeheim now.
Mm-hmm.
Syracuse has been in the ACC how many years? All of how long?
4 years.
Yeah. Quote, he said, quote, there's no reason to play in Greensboro. The only reason they play there is because the league offices are there. It's always been there. And there are like 150 people who like to have meetings. It should not be there. End of quote. That's coming from Jim Boeheim.
Well, actually, the quote.
Let me continue. Let me continue. Quote, the media centers, the recruiting centers are Atlanta, Washington, D.C., and New York. How many good players are in Greensboro? New York made the Big East. Of course, come on, Boeheim, you're much smarter than that to know that recruiting is not a backyard thing. ACC teams attract players from all over the country. Anyway, here's more from Boeheim. Quote, I'm saying all of this because I don't give a S, with a chuckle. Quote, but this is what's right. Why do you think the Big Ten is coming to New York City? It's a good business decision. Everyone says this is all about business. Well, that's a good business decision. Well, I don't know. I mean, the ACC used to be, the ACC tournament used to be one of the most difficult tickets in sport.
Yes.
Before the Super Bowl, it was, along with the Masters. Before the Super Bowl, probably was the toughest ticket to get in sports, along with the Masters. Now, you know, the early round games, the tournaments have been so watered down. There's maybe, as I look around here, there's maybe 5,000 people in this arena tonight for these games. The tournaments have been so watered down with expansion that it's killed that aura of the tournaments. Let's see how it plays out this weekend when they get down to the Thursday, Friday, Saturday games there, because they had their championship on Saturday. Let's see what the atmosphere is like, what the crowds look like, and we'll go from there. But he's just spouting off because he is retiring, and what does he care? He can share a stupid opinion like that if he wants to. That tournament belongs, no question about it, it belongs in the heart of North Carolina. It belongs in Greensboro. It should be permanently put in Greensboro. I don't understand even moving it around. I don't even know why you want to go to Charlotte with it. I mean, there should be something about tradition. There should be something about history that comes into play. I've never heard anybody complain about the ACC tournament losing money in Greensboro, okay? Show me where they're losing money by having it in Greensboro. Show me where the marketing is not huge when it's in Greensboro. Show me where the television networks aren't stumbling over each other to televise the games in Greensboro. You know, he's a New Yorker, Boeheim. He thinks the world revolves around New York City and the state of New York, and it, of course, does not. There is a whole big, great country out there, Jim. You ought to take a look at it sometime. You might enjoy some of it in retirement.
Well, you know, the interesting thing I was about to say, Corn, that there was one magic word that was in the quote that apparently what you're reading wasn't in there. He used the term value. There is no value in playing the tournament in Greensboro. No value at all. That's the term he used. Was value.
Yeah.
And he
There's
said
no value in his opinion, if you ask me.
Because though, if I'm
no
Virginia,
value in that.
If I'm Virginia, I wouldn't mind They never could win on Tobacco Road.
Virginia won the tournament 1 or 2 years ago. They won it wherever it was played.
Well, the first time they won it. Yeah, the only time.
Yeah, the first time when they won it, when they had the great who was that great shooting guard with the floppy hair?
Well, they had
I think that
they had the forward, Mike Ivoroni.
Yeah, but they had another. Yeah,
I don't
you're
think,
probably right about that.
I don't think Barry Parkhill was still on that team then.
That's what I'm thinking about. Yeah. All right, let's talk a little football. Clemson football. The Tigers had a scrimmage today. There was no media availability. There's been no information put out about the scrimmage. Earlier this week, co-offensive coordinator Tony Elliott met with the media to talk about things in this transition spring for the Clemson offense. And, of course, everybody, including Tony Elliott, is keeping an eye on that quarterback battle.
4 days into practice, we're gonna put it down on Wednesday, let them scrimmage a little bit, but you definitely can see the ability, especially the young guys are a lot of talent, but still trying to process everything. Really like the confidence level that Kelly's come out with, and seems to be the most consistent, day in and day out. So excited. And Tucker, Tucker's much improved from the fall. So, really until we can let those guys scrimmage and get us off the field, kind of slow down with the installation and see how they handle it. But so far, pleased with the confidence, but still got some work to do.
How have you been managing the reps with those guys?
I've let Coach Streeter, handle that, and he does a good job of trying to get all those guys opportunities. But obviously Kelly is the one that's getting the majority of the reps, and then Tucker, and then also Zarek Cooper, and then trying to bring Hunter along, as we can. Again, just a freshman, should still be in high school. He's 4 days into a college installation. You see definitely the arm talent and the ability, but still trying to figure it all out.
Of course, the Clemson offense hit hard by departures. 6 guys, maybe more, going to the NFL with a chance to play professionally, starting with their quarterback, running backs, receivers, tight ends, 1 offensive lineman. This is something Tony Elliott and his staff on the offensive side have to deal with and work around as they try to get ready for 2017.
Every spring we go back to the basics, so we'll start over. So even if those guys will return, we're going to go back to the basics and the nuts and bolts of what we do, because each season presents its challenges. Obviously each season is different, each team is different, and so the offense is going to be suited to the strengths of those guys, of where they're at. And so you really don't change, because this spring we're going back to the basics, whether those guys are here or not.
How the running backs looked, and with CJ Fuller, he proved his ability to catch the ball downfield. We know that Fisher has really good hands as well. Is that a feature part of this offense that we can see this spring?
I think as we progress, but going back to the basics of what we do, we haven't gotten to that point yet, but I plan to be able to add some of those elements, as those guys continue to progress. But CJ finished the fall, finished the season as the number 2 guy, so naturally he'll start in that position. But we'll have separation as we put the pads on and get out the way as we progress through spring and let those guys get hit a little bit. But really like the confidence level of those 3 guys. You see evenness out of Feaster, but we still got to remember he's a young guy, so there's still a lot of things that I'm teaching him. Fuller looks very, very confident. Joyce has a different confidence level about him. You're starting to see that he's not thinking about things. He's playing with a high level of confidence. So I'm excited to get into the portion of spring where we take the we go full contact, we get off the field, and we let those guys play, because I think they're really going to battle it out.
Of course, the one spot on the offensive line they've got to replace a guy is at center, and they lose a very good one, of course, who will get his shot at the NFL. But Justin Falcinelli is a guy they feel real good about. He's played a little bit on the offensive line, and he's got good size. He's just got to pick up all the things that you have to pick up as a center, making the calls and picking up the blitzing linemen and the blitzing linebackers, and just making sure everybody's on the right page there. And I think they feel good about what he is able to do in stepping in there at the center position this spring. All right, that's Tony Elliott. When we come back, speaking of offensive line, some comments from the new USC OL coach, Eric Wolford, about the guys he's working with this spring. We'll be right back. Halftime here, Mississippi State 37, LSU 25. What do you say if you are a lame duck coach, your team's down 12 at halftime? What do you say to them in the locker room? Guys, let's get this thing over with as quickly as possible. I got a tea time tomorrow morning down in Destin, Florida.
They did that last year. Remember when they laid that again? That was embarrassing what LSU did last year in the tournament. They could have put 5 cadavers out there and they'd have played better.
All right. Couple of things to update, including some baseball scores for you. And we'll update Clemson and South Carolina for you here in just a moment. If you're a Clemson baseball fan, of course, you can hit a home run with Founders Federal Credit Union, which is now open in Tigertown. Founders Clemson location is located on Old Greenville Highway. Also, check out their 4 on-campus ATMs. Visit RelaxJoinFounders.com to see if you qualify for membership. Also, want to remind you from the South Carolina Forestry Commission that insects and diseases can be moved hundreds of miles in firewood, threaten forests and favorite campsites, neighborhoods, and state and national parks. Help protect the trees you love by purchasing firewood at or near where you burn it. For more information, visit don'tmovefirewood.org. All right, baseball, South Carolina has scored a run in the bottom of the first to cut into the Winthrop lead. It's now 4-1. The Gamecocks scoring on a sacrifice fly by Williams, scoring Hopkins. So USC is down 4-1. Clemson is leading Michigan State 3-0. Williams had that 2-run double. Green got a run home on a double play ball. So the Tigers are up 3-0 in that one. At the ACC tournament, Wake Forest and Virginia Tech playing up in Brooklyn. And it's 35-32, the Demon Deacons with 3:02 to play in the first half. Now to a Gamecock football. Eric Wolford, the new offensive line coach. Of course, the Gamecocks are off right now for spring break. They got 4 practices in before the break. They'll come back and hit it hard for their remaining 10 practices in their spring game beginning next week. Wolford inherits an offensive line with some veterans. They've moved some folks around. Here he is as he breaks down for all of us what he's looking at this spring with his offensive line as he moves right to left along that offensive line.
Well, you got obviously we're starting out spring with Zach there at right. We've got Camper backing him up, and Camper's been a guy that's been in the program, and he has the length that you're looking for. He's just got to continue to get stronger. His intentions are great. He's working at it. I think he knows he needs to start putting in some more time away from the building as far as the lifting, the eating, and getting stronger and those kind of things. But I've been encouraged by that, So you got him at right guard. Corey Holmes, the guy that's played a lot of football. He's got versatility. He can play center. He can play right guard. And, he's a guy that has game experience. He's been through a lot of change. He's a student of the game. I mean, when you tell this guy something, he'll do it the next play. And that's something that I appreciate. You see other guys in the room acknowledge that, and that's part of the kind of guys that we need along with him and Zach. They got that kind of mentality. So, another guard candidate is Trey Duran, and you got Pika Leota, who are young guys in the program that need to continue to improve physically. And what I'm talking about there is just your ability to move. We got to become quicker. We got to be able to change directions faster. We got to be stronger. We got to play with length. We got to get our eyes in the right places. If you've got great eyes, you can anticipate a lot of things. If you're not looking at the right things, then you'll get caught off guard. And then at the center position, obviously Alan Knott's back. We got to get some weight back on him. He had the wrist injury last year before the season, which was a setback. He's a smart guy. He makes all the calls, communicates well to each other. He likes football. He likes to bang around. Just got to keep his emotions under control. Chandler Farrell's in there at center banging it around right now. And Chandler's just your typical overachiever type guy. Maybe not the stature exactly that everyone's looking for as far as a SEC player, those kind of things. But I'm going to tell you what, he's a productive player. he's productive. He gets the job done. He gets things done. He goes about his business, blue-collar guy, work ethic. And that's why he ended up being, I think, number 2 center last year. At the left guard spot, we're rolling with DJ Park right now. He's a guy that was highly recruited here and just probably hasn't ever fulfilled the promise that was once there. And I said, I don't know about that, DJ. I said, what I do know is you're a big body guy that has power and athleticism, and we got to find a way to get it out of you, or you're going to look by and say your career, what happened to my career? He's down to a very small window here of an opportunity to go out and play. So I'm hoping that we can get something out of him and get him to play at a high level where he could be potentially one of your 5, because he's got that body type, at the offensive guard spot there. So he's going to be pushed by Donnell Stanley. Donnell is a guy that started the season last year, had a misfortune with his foot, with his ankle there. But I've been encouraged by him. He's another guy that's great in the classroom, learner, takes everything you say, writes it down. So I'm going to be really interested to watch that, because he wants the job, So when you got some competition, you're going to find out who your best guys are. And then obviously at the left tackle spot, you got Malik right there. And then you got Sedarius Hutchison, who's a guy that's going to be obviously challenging. Malik has game experience. He's played. He's adjusting the left tackle a little bit. That's been a little bit of a change for him. But we're just, him and Sedarius are probably 2 of our more athletic, fast, quick twitch guys. And you got to have guys that can play left tackle, and you can't just have one. So we got to figure out if they can do it. And then we'll probably evaluate where we are, after the break here, kind of give these guys some time at it and see where they are. And then obviously backing him up is Cam, the walk-on guy there. And, he's just got to continue to physically develop his body. Pelage has been banged up with his leg there on his hamstring, or his calf muscle, I should say. So we'll have a better feel for where we're at once we get about halfway through this thing.
Okay, there you go with Eric Wolford, USC offensive line coach. He's got a decent group to work with, I think, if some guys can get healthy. As we know, Corey Helms was dealing with injuries last year. Alan Knott was dealing with some injuries coming off last year. Donnell Stanley was hurt all year long. Get those guys healthy, and then just improve the performance of some guys. DJ Park's got to play better. He's a big-bodied guy. Moving him to left guard might be a very wise move. Zach Bailey should really shine out at right tackle. And Malik Young, we'll see if he can handle that left tackle spot. That's, he got experience over there on the right side. We'll see how well he can handle things on the left side there. Plus, they've got to develop some depth. But I tell you, the main thing right now, Pro, they have got to keep Bentley healthy. Now with McElwain gone, they can ill afford for anything bad to happen to Bentley from that standpoint, because they are naked at quarterback behind him.
Well, as I said before, a good offensive line, know when it's prudent to get a holding penalty. You hold before you let him get to your quarterback. We can go way back and think of those times with Joe Namath. The Jets would just hold on every down. So you're not getting our quarterback no matter what you do. And let's face it, they don't call holding in the SEC anyway. So why not hold? Plus, they got to get nasty and really get stubborn with the running game. If they get that running game going, play action, nobody should be able to lay a hand on.
Well, I get your humor in the holding thing. I think they prefer to become technically sound and fundamentally sound in learning how to block and strong enough to hold off these crashing linemen without having to hold. I think that's where they would like to go. All right, that'll do it. We'll have more from here in Nashville. The full day of basketball tomorrow. More from here and more from Columbia. Thank you, Jarmard and Pro. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.